It's an exciting day at Dangote Cement, the launch of the Paka Paka promotion. In case you haven't heard what this one is all about, there's been noise almost everywhere, if I'm not mistaken. Paka Paka promotion is basically one in which if you buy more than 10 bags of cement, Dangote cement to be precise, you stand a chance of winning 1,000 kwacha, a whole 1 pin. And this will be happening a whole lot. You're going to be hearing about this almost every day, everywhere you go. And to break it down like a fraction more as to what we're talking about, what's the Paka Paka promotion, what's Dangote Cement all about, the products they have, we've got to my left here, Mwaka and Luke. Welcome to that Zed Podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's all the craze about the Paka Paka promotion. There's the 1 pin, winner 1 pin. Mwaka, please break it down for us. What's going on with all this promotion?
Yes, with pleasure. We recently launched a promotion. It's dubbed Paka Paka. Paka Paka implying in Nyanja a lot, Vapaka. So we're giving out a lot of money, 1,000 kwacha every 2 weeks. The idea is we're giving back to our customers, our loyal customers. We will be running this promotion in 100 outlets across the country, Lusaka, Copperbelt, Western Province, Southern Province, everywhere. The idea is you walk into a participating outlet, you purchase 10 bags of cement, and you stand a chance to win. It is simple. You purchase 10 bags of cement, enter your details on an entry slip that will be provided into a box. Every 2 weeks, we'll be drawing winners. The key thing here is you need to buy 10 bags of cement. You can actually buy 100 if you want.
Yeah.
That means you get 10 entries. So you double your chances of winning. The idea is we want you to choose Dangote over the others. And the key thing to note, though, this is across all our products. So we've got 3 products. We've got 3X, we've got 32.5R, and we've also got Blockmaster, which we recently launched. Any of these products, it could be a combination of them. As long as to enter, you need to purchase 10 bags.
Dangote.
If you want, you can purchase 1,000 bags. That will mean you have 100 entries to the promotion to increase your chances of winning. Every 2 weeks, we'll draw winners, and at each draw, we'll announce 40 winners, meaning we're actually giving out 40,000 kwacha at per draw. So we encourage our loyal customers to participate in this promotion so that they can win.
Before we come...
Because you work hard to bring your dreams to life, we at Dangote felt you needed to get a little more out of your efforts. We are saying get Paka Paka.
Tan 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 tan, 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 tan 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 tan.
This is one of those episodes that I think is going to be so educative, so lit, so fun, because our guest today is one who... This gentleman here has got stories for days, if I can use some street lingo here. He has stories for days. And what amusing thing about our guest today, of all the people I've met in my life, Nelson, this is the only gentleman I know who actually gave himself a nickname, and it stuck. Linga Mangali. Am I pronouncing this correctly?
Good try, but it's Linga Mangali.
Oh, this nga.
Yeah.
Linga Mangali.
Linga Mangali.
You gave yourself that nickname as a kid because you're going to surprise people, and you made it stick. It's even on your book cover right now. Is it on your NRC as well?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
So it is. So it means don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised.
Don't be surprised. So even what we are discussing today, please don't be surprised.
Linga Mangali.
Linga Mangali.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Our guest today, Dumisani Ncube. Did I pronounce that correctly?
No,
good try.
Listen how you said Ncube.
Ncube?
Yeah, good try. Ncube.
Where you from?
Better with a sweet in your mouth.
Right, yeah.
It works out great.
Where you from?
My great grandfather, South Africa.
Right.
My grandfather, Zimbabwe. My father, Zambia. So we seem to be moving north. Maybe going towards Tanzania.
Zimbabwe.
But
Bulawayo?
Gweru.
Gweru.
Yes,
That's
but-
like halfway between Bulawayo and Harare.
Yes, but born and bred in Zambia. So my father was the first child of my grandfather to be born in Zambia. So my father was born in Zambia,
Interesting.
and I was born in Zambia. So clearly, I can be president.
So second generation. Oh yeah.
Second generation Zambia. Yeah.
But do you really want to be president though? I feel like it's
No.
too below.
It's like telling Dangote to say, okay, well, it's like telling Dangote to say, can you be a member of parliament? I think it's actually beyond that. So
that's exactly what I said.
So my take on that is that you say you can impact lives positively.
In your own capacity.
In your
right
own
now.
capacity.
You don't have to run for office.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the route I'm taking.
Speaking of Dangote, funny you mentioned Dangote.
Yeah.
We have actually been doing some work with Dangote.
Is it?
Yeah. Apart from being a radical entrepreneur, you're also a mind reader.
That's an interesting one.
I like that you brought up how your family ended up in Zambia. One thing I find quite peculiar about your lineage, where you came from, or the people you come from, your great grandfather, is it? Yeah, your grandfather. When they came to Zambia, this gentleman actually comes from a line of men who married many wives. Listen to this. His grandfather and his brother. Well, they're both their grandfathers.
Yes.
Between them had 12 wives and 80 children.
Christ.
That's an insult. It's 84.
84
Put some respect
How
there.
very dare you take other kids
4
out of
children.
this?
Take 4 children out of the equation.
84. Just two.
I like your family. I think I belong in your family.
Just two brothers.
2 brothers, 12 wives, 80 children. Did your father ever describe 84 children?
What
Sorry,
do you
my
have
bad.
against- What do you have against these kids? What do you have against them?
Did your father ever describe to you what it was like growing up in such a home?
No, I have a rough idea.
Yeah.
So you see, when they came in,
Yeah.
they settled.
Well,
So
they did come.
okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. No, it's fine. I get the drift, but it's fine. I'll not go there. Lest I pray for you. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so my grandfather, my direct grandfather,
Yeah.
was working for a white man. So down McCain Road at the farms. So when the man was set to leave, and that was before independence, he decided to sell the farm to my grandfather. But since my grandfather didn't have enough funds, he then called the young brother, who is my grandfather too, who was in Monze. So they came in the same environment. So where I grew up from, it's a space where my 2 grandparents were there, and my aunties and uncles, almost all of them, were in the same environment. So I experienced it. And you see, the interesting thing is that my grandparents had a church called Israel. So Israel is a very interesting church. They go to church on Saturday, but most of the pastors have more than one wife. I don't know the connection with that. so it's
They came to fulfill scripture. Go ye and multiply.
And multiply, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so the church, the branch that was that side, it was made up of 2 grandparents and their children. So that was the church. And it was a huge church. I mean,
All 84 children go to this church.
yeah.
Jesus. Whoa.
Yeah.
That was a big church.
Yeah, but
That's the whole
but what-
congregation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole congregation. Actually, it is, your wives, your children,
Yeah.
and if your children marry, their wives
Their spouses.
and their
Exactly.
spouses, would then come in. So there were the 3 of them, actually. My grandfather, the young brother, and the other young brother. But that one wasn't so serious about life. So he just had one wife, and he just had.
He wasn't serious about life. With one wife.
Well, in this context, yeah. So he had, is it 2? Yeah, 2, 3 children. Yeah.
And then you were born on the 1st of July, 1989. Were you the first child? How many of you are there?
So in my direct family,
Yeah.
we are 5. I'm the second born child.
Wait, when you say direct family, what does that mean? Did your father do like his dad before him?
Yeah, quite an interesting question. And these are things that I've never talked about. Yes. So I have half siblings. Yeah.
Just like most African families, really. I mean, I don't think it's something which is that unique. That story is a pretty prevalent one.
Yes.
And what relationship?
Yes.
How's the relationship though with your half siblings?
No, cool. They're actually my. They're actually my brothers and sisters, and we look at it that way.
Okay.
Because we are coming from an environment where you see there's something very interesting about Ndebeles. So having more than one wife is a normal thing.
Yeah.
It's a standard normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that would make it different for people like us now, like myself, is an issue of faith. Because I'm now a Seventh-day Adventist, so I can't marry more than one wife, and that is what has disturbed the potential me that I could have been. Yeah. So us marrying more than one wife is a normal thing, and over and above that, how we marry, it is in such a way that once you marry, your wife, and your wife is kept well. It's almost direct that you can marry the young sister to your wife.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah. So clearly, standard.
Stop giving us some ideas, please.
Yeah. So that's how it works.
Yeah.
That's how it works. Actually, in appreciating you for keeping their daughter well, they'll give you another one. Yeah.
Wow.
Bonus. And sometimes you can even hammer 3 from the same family. Yeah.
Are you married?
Not yet. How I wish I was. Yeah.
Right, you and I both, man.
Oh, we're in the same boat.
We're in the same boat.
Dumisani, I know about your success, but how much should I be calling? Let me talk about the pressure. How much? No, let's just call it pressure. Don't you get pressure from females with the amount of success that you've had in your life? I mean, you drive good cars. We've seen a good fleet of cars outside. You're in a good office building. There's so much going on around your life. You're a celebrity.
Oh, I am? Am I?
Yes, you are. Yeah. And you've achieved so much that you can even see the money on you. Don't get pressure, man. Like, people know you're single. How much pressure is in your DM right now, bro?
I don't know whether it is really pressure. It is not so bad. On average, I just receive 3 proposals a day.
That's
so
right.
That's 3 more than me every day.
And don't you get pressure like you don't get
3 more than you? Sorry.
And don't you get pressure like you get girls trying to poke holes in the condoms and whatnot? Or is my mind just too radical?
I'm an elder in the church, so I won't list some question to say, okay, so do you do this stuff? But pressure is there. Pressure is there, and it's a common thing. Yeah, it is a common thing, and of course, I do receive quite a number of proposals. Now, I'm not talking about people who would show interest. I'm talking about people who would propose. Like, listen up, I want you to be my guy. Direct.
Are you serious?
Those, 3 in a day. 3 on a bad day, by the way.
I think this begs the question now.
Yeah.
Why are you turning down all these proposals? Why are you still single?
Why are you yelling?
I'm asking. Can you let the man answer the question? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I've really struggled. I don't know. I'm trying to think about this, and I'm trying to. I think it has just been difficult to find one that I can settle with, because there are certain expectations that I have, and it has been difficult to meet some of these expectations. Maybe I can give.
What are you looking for? I've got Iris's number. I can hook you up.
You see, I would have passed a silly comment there, but
We'll leave it at
that. It's quite difficult. So my life is quite unique. I think this is what makes my life a bit unique. Maybe you can pick it from there. One, I'm this serious entrepreneur, so I'm so serious about life. What I do, so the kind of woman that I want is one who is equally serious at that level, like serious about life and whatnot. Yeah. So that's one side. Then 2, I'm this church kind of guy, you know. I'm an elder in the church, and you know, the time I was, you know, chosen as an elder, I was the only single elder, well, in my church then, and you know, the youngest. So I had this leadership responsibility, and a respected figure in the church. So meaning, Madam again must be this kind of person who is churchish, you know, like a church girl. 3, with the roots from, you know, Zimbabwe and whatnot, we like nice things, you know, nice things. So
what do you mean?
So she must be, you know,
I feel you, brother.
Yeah. So she must be, nice, beautiful. I love beauty.
You've got a lot of boxes to check, man.
Yeah. So now you find beauty.
Yeah.
But she's
so actually, but you know, she's not sharp.
Yeah, you can call it.
You okay? Yeah, but I didn't say that.
Call it what it is, man.
Yeah. Then you find that she's beautiful, smart, but not a church person.
Right.
There's always something missing.
Yeah, but then you find this one is proper church person, but beauty ain't there. Okay, well, I didn't say that.
Yeah, I did.
So now the interesting thing is, I once dated one from the States.
Oh wow!
Cool,
okay,
beautiful, Black American, always on point and always flowing. But then, culturally, we get to be different. She then posts her pictures in a bikini. So someone from church just, you know, commented, you know, like sent me, you know, a message. Now we've seen Bamburamu. Now you see that seeing Bamburamu is not really meant
We have seen.
This. You know. So I think it is because of that I've really had difficulties finding a proper balance.
So which one can you compromise on the qualities that you mentioned? Which one can you say, this maybe I can compromise on?
I think it's pretty tough. I can compromise on all of them in a way just to balance it up, but all of them are extremely important because you see, if you're not balancing on the church aspect, you find yourself in a space where when you have issues, you can't resolve them. I mean, I would love to have a wife who we can kneel down, pray, and have this kind of thing and resolve issues at that level. So that is a given for me. Very, very, very important.
What about someone that's just spiritual, really? Does it have to be someone that's religious?
But well, there could be some compromises here and there. But if I was to compromise, then I believe I would have married. But the fact that I'm not yet married, it simply means there are huge factors for me.
Hey, listen, you're preaching to the choir. I'm exactly the same way, and I'm not going to hurry and get married because I'm getting older, or I'm lucky that I've got parents that are pretty cool and they don't give me pressure about that. So if I'm going to marry, it's because I have found exactly what I'm looking for. It could be 60 that I get married. I'm not going to... Cause I feel, because I've got a lot of respect for that institution. So if and when I do get married, I don't think I'm going to get divorced. And forever is a very long time to be unhappy. So, take your time. Nurture whatever it is that you're looking for.
Well, my wish was to marry way earlier. That was my plan. I wanted to marry first at 25, but then 28. Wow, 28 passed. I'm now 32.
You're 32.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm gone here.
No, I feel like I'm a failure. Like I haven't done shit with my life.
Come on. So I'm 32. I'm not yet married, and I feel bad about it. But in terms of pressure, like you, that you don't have pressure.
Right.
For me, I have crazy aunties, crazy uncles who'll just come in and say, "Listen up, talk to us.
Is everything okay?
Is everything okay? Everything okay?
Right,
Does it? So I have such crazy uncles and aunties. Yeah. So it has been some form of pressure.
Listen, pressure is for tires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, pressure is for tires. I don't subscribe to that.
Okay.
Dumisani,
I love that.
We know you today as, the radical entrepreneur. There's so much going on in your life. You're a successful businessman and all. Let's talk about the roots, man. Like we alluded to earlier how you were born on the 1st of July, 1989.
Good question.
And can you believe this gentleman here only saw electricity for the first time in 1999 when he was 10 years old?
Before you answer that, and here's the other thing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought that up. I'm not knocking you, Dumisani. I like you, actually. Met you for the first time today. Very fun, welcoming guy. Except you didn't give us food. Here's one thing that I've realized.
Yeah.
This goes for everybody in the room. Have you ever noticed when a person becomes successful, they have to have this sad backstory about how they walked for 20 kilometers to school.
Pressure makes diamonds harder than stone. So yeah.
Not taking anything away from your story, but then when you then said, he then saw electricity for the
first time when he was 10 years old. Yeah.
It then like brings that whole...
Brings it home, the whole success story from rags to riches kind of thing.
The rags to riches.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't get this. Sometimes I think people think that people who would say, no, I come from this kind of background, you say I was so poor and whatnot. Sometimes people think those are made up stories. Sometimes, it's like, but how come everyone who's made it, they have a similar story? We suffered.
My uncle raised me.
What?
Yeah.
But I've come to realize that there is a reason why things go that way, and I will maybe explain it this way.
Yeah.
A person who is coming from a very disadvantaged background, my take is this. There are friends who are born in very good families. They were comfortable. Like for myself, I was born in a thatched house. No electricity. Got to see electricity when I was 10. Like indicated. Yeah. It was a poor background. In fact, so poor such that the poor called us poor. I like saying that.
The poor don't mess with you. The poor called him poorer. This one no.
Yeah. You see, in poverty there are also levels.
Yeah, there's levels too.
Yeah, there's a point where like fellas are poor, but this poor fella is calling the other poor boss. It's a normal. It is normal in life.
Yeah.
But what tends to happen is this. So there are people who are born and they start their life from zero. Zero. And you start counting 1, 2, 3, and you are going positives. Then there are some of us who are born not at zero. We are born in the negatives. So you are in negative 10. You have to fight
to get
to zero. But here's what normally happens. Those that are born in the negatives, as you fight to get to zero, when you start counting from zero, going to 5, when you find one who started from zero counting to 5 and you are coming from negative 10 and you are at 5, you can never compare the two. It just can't work. The level of tenacity, the level of determination, the hunger, because you know where you're coming from. So you can never compare one who is coming from a negative background, a tough background, with one who actually had it all. Those who had it all, you find that there's a certain level of spoon feeding. Of course, there are those exceptional cases where, they would have it all and whatnot, but those are exceptional cases. And that is why, I don't know if you've noticed now, that those that would go to these powerful international schools, what international schools, those that are paying 200,000 or is it 100,000 per term, 200,000 per term. Have you realized that in these big banks, in those structures, you not see them anymore? Yeah. In these big corporations,
you rarely find them.
You rarely find them.
Yeah.
Rarely find them. So where do they go? Most of the guys that are there, I was from a poor and what. It is the hunger and the tenacity that is there. So yes,
there's a place you don't want to go back to.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I fear poverty. Do you know why I work so hard? I've tasted poverty before, and I just don't want to go back. I don't want to go back there. I'm scared of that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Can we go back to your first? We brought up the issue of you seeing electricity for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine what your first thought of what electricity was like. You know what I mean? Like you see this bulb for the first time. What ran through your mind when you get into you saw electricity in a city for the first time? Where was it from, and what was the experience like?
All right. So I'm trying to remember how it was really. But it was quite fascinating. We used to use what are called koroboys. Not candles. Candles, that's luxury.
Koroboy is what in English again?
Paraffin.
The little bottle with a little...
what are those called? Kerosene lamps?
Kerosene
lamps. Yeah. So, yes, kerosene lamps. So, but not again those ones which have, a glass arrangement on the side.
The one with the tin.
But with the tin, yes. Yeah. Then you have, a cloth.
Yeah.
That you then
that dips into
like a little
the
thread that goes down. Yeah.
Right,
So
yeah.
now, that is where we're coming from. You know, that's where we're coming from. Those ones with the glass, I mean, hey, that's luxury.
Oh, luxury.
Yeah, because that one doesn't go off with a
Wind.
blow of wind. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the ones that we had, you know, you had to protect in a way, and yeah. So that
if wind comes through, then yeah.
but listen up. Then you have this kind of arrangement where this bulb is just on all the time,
whole time.
consistently, no wind, no what, and it's just there. You're like, wow. And you see, funny thing, when we then had electricity at the farm, I don't know what I was trying to do. I was trying to open these cables have this
Insulation?
cover-
Do not
insulation,
like-
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I like where this
But
is
you're
going.
trying to.
Please don't tell me use your teeth.
I use my.
Oh crap, that's happened to me before. Box in your mouth and your mouth goes bitter.
Yeah, you know,
That's happened to you?
It's happened to me before.
Jesus.
I tried
were
to
you
peel.
two growing up?
I tried to peel that thing, and it blew my mind off. It's like, you know, the brain left my head. I just fell there. You see, I didn't know how this thing really works. You know.
I think that's how you became a genius. You know, kind of like how Spider-Man got beat. So I think that little is what made you the genius that you are today.
Well, it was. I don't know, but that thing, it really made me understand what I was really dealing with, and I was just fascinated.
It's not a color boy.
It's not a Koroboy anymore, and I'm dealing with real stuff
So
here.
where was this? Where did you grow up?
Down McKinney Road, there's a place where we used to have Christian voice. So there's some villages around that
That
place.
close to the city, and you had not seen electricity.
Yeah.
Jesus. And so where was the place that you saw electricity? Did you go to a relative? Did you get it yourself?
We had it. We had it. So it was brought at the. at the
Oh,
same
right.
village,
It was
yeah.
then installed.
Yes, it was
Oh,
then
okay.
installed. Yeah.
And what was the family setup like?
Sorry.
What was the family setup like? Oh, you also got distracted there. Are we okay there? Can we not keep going in and out? Getting distracted here.
Yeah.
So what was the family setup like?
Okay, so remember that we had, you know, our grandparents. So then all those that then became of age were then given, you know, a little place. So you
Yeah.
here. So then they'll then, you know, build their mud house, you know, thatch it
Kind
there.
of like Indians do.
Yeah.
More on a fancy scale.
So another one there. So we had the case where we have, you know, aunties and uncles, you know, within the same area.
Yeah.
So and remember that you have, you know, close to 80, 84 aunties and uncles. So when they married, so they're about 100 and, you know, something aunties and uncles.
Yeah.
Right.
So then their children, where are we for now? So it's like, you know, a proper huge village of relatives.
Jeez.
So we're a big family.
How did you keep names, or did you just end up naming them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
And the funny thing is, you had very interesting names. I have very interesting cousins. We have a cousin called Design. I have Plan. I have
We met your brother. What's his name again?
Desire.
Desire.
Your brother, yeah?
Your brother.
Oh, Decent.
Decent. Decent.
Yeah, so we had all these funny names.
And
yeah,
we met the
but-
other girl, Treasure.
Treasure, yeah.
I
You have
see.
got
I see.
interesting names up in here.
Yeah, so I think it is from that environment where Zesco allowed, though, or at least they managed to install electricity in thatched houses. So that's where I experienced electricity first. Yeah.
Do you know what electricity actually did to his brain? He was the highest at grade 7, the whole district, yeah?
Oh yes. And
Can we blame the electricity shock?
We've just figured this out. It was the electricity shock.
We figured it out now, yeah.
well, maybe, yeah, maybe.
it was.
Maybe. But then you see, not just the highest. That's where the Lingamangali name comes in from. So Lingamangali means don't be surprised. So I used to beat my chest and say, hey, listen up, don't be surprised. What happened was in grade 5, I skipped grade 6, go to grade 7 in a new class, new grade, and I was the highest. So that's how I go to a school called Matero Boys Secondary School, which had a pretty, you know, high cutoff point. I don't know how it is now, but Matero Boys is a very, very, very special school because it has a very high cutoff point. So those that are coming from poor families want their children to go there. Then those from rich families want their children to go there too. So when I go to Matero Boys, that's when I first realized, got to know how poor we were. Actually, like first time. So actually, we are poor. Why? Because you see, in the village, when all of you are poor, life is normal. It's like, no, this is right. Us. Yeah,
there's no discrepancy.
Yes, but there, like, some guys would buy Apple Max and a pie at break time, then buy again egg roll and whatnot at lunchtime every day. I was like, the kind of money that they're spending every day, this is money that we budget on as a family
for the month.
Yeah, so I was like, actually, I think we are poor. So I got to know that we are poor when I got to Matero Boys Secondary School.
Who did you live with at home?
At the farm.
At the farm.
My parents.
Your parents.
My parents.
Does it make you look at your parents in a different, like, you niggas need to get your game up?
Did you look at them that way then?
No.
Because I remember you mentioned a couple of times how you would go to a corner in your school and cry because of the poverty that you were coming from.
So you see, I didn't look at them that way. I think they did their best in their own right, because you see that was the environment.
Does and your mind comprehend that though?
Yeah.
At that young age.
Yes. So that made sense still. It's like, and by the way, from the village where we were, it is not. It was a village which was now like way better, because remember that we then had electricity.
Right.
So they were then deeper villages. So our parents were heroes for what they were doing, because they were then deeper villages that we knew of. So I didn't look at them like, you guys didn't do the best and whatnot. That thought didn't cross my mind. But when I got to Matero Boys, then I was like, okay, yeah, I think there is, the next level. And the funny thing is that one of my close friends who had, a vehicle in grade 8, he had his own vehicle and his own driver. And this guy is sitting just behind me, just the borak behind me. So then I got to realize really how poor we were. And you see, that's where the motivation came in to say, I think we can get to the next level. What was so comforting, though, I should indicate that, was performance. We're still like, you guy, I mean, you're coming from a well-to-do family, you're rich and whatnot, and we can still compete on performance. So I think that made me then realize that, listen, I think I can do this.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. They are not any better than myself. Yeah, and if you looked at the first money that I made, it was from the, profits made from pamphlets.
Yeah.
But before pamphlets, there's a subject called technical drawing, TD.
Yeah, you used to teach extra lessons, right?
Yeah. So what I would do is that in our time, I would do my drawings, then do the drawings of my friends, and they would pay me for that. So then I was like, no, listen, so
this extra money.
I would make some extra money from that. Yeah. So it made me realize that actually I'm not different from these guys. I think I can equally make it the same way, they can make it. So that inferiority complex, I think, died down over time. Yeah.
The more that you talk, Dumisani, the more I realize that what is key and what is important in the destination that a person has in their lives is the mindset you have, right? So here you are with a poor background, as you say, and you had other kids that had similar circumstances growing up. You're going to have one of two people that have got two different attitudes.
Yeah.
One is you and what you've said, that the poverty, the hunger was fuel for you to say, I do not want to be like this. Especially when you have got other kids that had drivers, and you've got something to look and aspire to, right? You'd say in your mind, I want to be like that or better. Then you've got another kid who's in the same circumstance as you, who see their circumstance, they see the same kid with the same driver, and I've heard this several times where they become so complacent in their poverty, and they say, no, we were born poor and we are meant to be poor. You've seen when you interact with people where they say, no, this is who we are. This is who I am meant to be. There's this saying by Oscar Wilde when he says, we are all laying in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Yeah. So you're all in the same messed up situation, but some people dream much further than where they are.
You see, just on that, I don't know what made me slightly different. I don't know. I'm at electricity because I remember something very interesting. You see, we were playing with these wire cars, cars made out of wires. Well, some of the kids may not know this, but you can make cars out of wires and whatnot. So as we are driving around, one of my friends had a truck. Made out of wires. We were limited in terms of inspiration at the village because the people that we looked up to, and I shouldn't get this respectively, is that those that left the village got to Lusaka, the city, and became drivers. Those, we respected them. The fact that they stay in Lusaka, they stay in the city, and they are drivers, whether they are drivers or conductors, that is secondary. Those, we looked up to them. And I remember there was an uncle who was a truck driver. He was working for Sebo Transport. So there's what is known as Sebo Transport, and they have Kafue Sugar. So he was a driver there and had this big truck. So when there's a wedding at the village, he would sometimes come with a horse, So he was respected. So one time we're having a conversation with colleagues, kids. And this guy says, me, I would want to be a truck driver. And I don't blame him because those are people we looked up to. So I would want to be a truck driver, Chikulu with my trailer, 2 trailers behind and whatnot. So he says that. Then the other one interjects and says, no, me, not a truck driver. Remember that we are not so far from where Christian Voice was. The most happening vehicle then was Trooper. I think Isuzu Trooper. Yeah, so it was like the happening vehicle then. So then this guy says, me, I would rather, instead of being a truck driver, I would rather, drive an Isuzu, Trooper. He said Trooper. Trooper. When I drive my boss, I leave my boss, the Trooper is mine. I can drive it around. So then I said, but you guy, you're saying driving a Trooper for your boss, but why not the Trooper being yours, or even the truck? Why not have the boss, the truck, have the truck as your truck? Then the guy just said, no, you're not boasting yako. So I was looked at that way, come guys got boasting. So what I'm putting across is that I don't know what made me begin thinking that way. I realized one thing, and when I was at Matero Boys, I said these words: I'll save my family from poverty. And I took it personal. It was a personal battle. And I say this to everyone to say, you gotta own up and realize that you're in charge of your life. The moment you own up and stop blaming others is the moment you start thriving, in the positive direction. Because the challenge that we tend to have is that we blame everyone except ourselves. And that's why you have, you see, the funny thing is that every excuse that you give, every excuse is valid. Expires. Yes, it is valid, and but it expires. No matter how authentic it is, it expires. It is like, no, you're born in a poor background. You can't be 50 years old and keep saying, no, I'm poor because I was born in a poor background. That excuse has expired. Even when you are an orphan, I sympathize if your parents died when you were young and you've gone through
for so long.
That excuse expires because you can't be 40 years old and keep saying I'm an orphan. That excuse would have expired. Not even the excuse of the economy and all these things expire. So it is just important that we owned up and manned up. So if there's one thing that has played a pivotal role for me, I blame no one, and I understand that I'm in charge of my life. So when circumstances go south, I know that I'm still in charge.
Another thing I find quite interesting about Dumisani is in grade 8, when you reached Matero Secondary School, and you're coming from the village, you come to the city now, people laughed at you for failing to speak English. Do you ever meet people today who get shocked when they see you on platforms like this, speaking English the way you do today?
You see, the interesting thing is this. Life can be so funny. And not just English. Not just speaking English. I used to stammer. So we can start it from there.
Right.
I used to stammer. I couldn't finish words. In fact, up to now, I still stammer. It's only that I have mastered speaking so well, such that I can I can feel and notice that on that word I'll stammer, so I avoid the word.
Okay.
And there are certain words that I just avoid naturally. Words like
what?
students, that are ST, students, words of that kind. Yeah.
But you said it perfectly though just now.
I'm surprised, you know.
You're welcome.
You know, yeah.
We are therapists. You're welcome.
So I used to stammer. I couldn't finish sentences, and those even in my secondary school can attest to that. Primary school ways, I grew up stammering. It was a huge battle for me to stop stammering. Mm-hmm. Now that was one side. Then the other side, we were taught in vernacular. Mm-hmm. You know, we were taught in Nyanja. In fact, even English itself, we are taught in Nyanja. So that's how crazy it was.
But noun.
Yeah, apa downy ni pants. On down ni pants. Uyu aenda down. You know, so we are taught. We are taught English in Nyanja. So now, so now you go to this school where these chaps, you know, are speaking English, and not just speaking in English, but they're doing it so fast.
Flowing is fluid.
You know, very fast. And you know, I'd even kids who are reading big books, you know, the Harry Potter books. No,
James Hadley Chase then were popular,
big books like this. I'm like, yo,
how
these kids? And you see, you start idolizing it. But it was only when, you know, results began coming. I'm like, so
we're just
actually,
the same.
These chaps are the same. They can speak better, but I think my answers are correct. Because photosynthesis is photosynthesis. Whether you speak good English or not, the definition is the same. So I think that was it. But
but do you ever meet you know, some of those guys who laughed at you, or do they ever get shocked when they hear you today? Has any of them ever go back to you to find out?
There are some. I think at some point I wasn't a good guy.
How so?
I wasn't a good guy. You see, I think I started this whole hustling thing. From there, you see, from the little profits that I made from the pamphlets and whatnot, I got into phones. So I found myself in trouble at school. So I had this, hate it. And phones then were illegal. You know, you shouldn't have a phone in school.
Oh yeah, true.
So I found a way of, dealing in phones. So I was seeing this dealer guy, but I was pretty good. So good to a point that I could even sell phones to teachers, something illegal.
Where would you get the phones?
Oh, so I found ways of, accessing. There were guys who would bring, they would bring. And the funny thing is, there are people who would sell phones within the same city. And this still happens now, where you would find one thing somewhere at a cheaper price than other places. So I knew the key guys that would have, phones that were cheaper, and you see phones that were that had a polyphonic tone.
That was everything.
You remember those phones where you could even compose a ringtone?
Yes.
Lonely.
Yes, and you see, I had, I almost always had phones that were, like the next level. So the screens, I don't know whether those were greenish or whitish, but then I had phones that had blue screen. So it was like a big thing, when your phone has blue screen. And when it has, polyphonic tones.
You're done.
I was the guy. So something illegal, you then talk to the teachers, listen up. I can get you this. You won't have to pay cash. You pay something. Now my friends knew. So they thought, no, this guy is even going to be educated, this guy and whatnot. Now that was late in my secondary education. It was a very interesting journey. So hustling has been part of.
So obviously your hustling began when you were in school, but what was the first, I don't want to say major breakthrough. So you mentioned the pamphlets. Was this after high school?
No, pamphlets, it was in grade 8.
So you were still in school?
Grade 8, grade 9, yes. Right. So pamphlets there. When I went to the village, from the profits I made from the pamphlets, I then started a kioski, kantemba, you know what you call kantemba. You know, simple basic things.
Yeah.
You know, sachets of beans.
Little groceries and stuff, like fish.
So in fact, it was so small. In fact, it was so small such that, you know, having 3 bottles of 750 mils cooking oil, I would beat my chest and say, no, we are stocked up. Because we used to decant in those glycerin bottles. I don't know if you guys know this kind of life.
I know it.
You know, glycerin bottles. So we would decant from the 750 mils into those. Then you would put in plastics. So that's how people would buy. That is what people could afford there. So those are the things that I was selling, and you know, made some cool profits. And there's a story that I never, you know, miss to share whenever I have an opportunity, because I think maybe it might help out someone. Amongst the things that I was selling, it was what is known as kasepa. So there's sardine, kapenta, and there's fish. But between kapenta and fish, there's kasepa. So kasepa is neither kapenta nor fish.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, it dies with sand in the gills. It's bitter. It pricks.
And I love it.
Oh, you do?
I love it very much.
So you have to soak it in hot water?
Yeah.
So at the village, those who could not afford fish or kapenta would buy kasepa.
Levels,
you know, levels. So a meda of kapenta. So a meda is, you know, like
little bucket.
A little bucket, which is like a 5-liter bucket if it has water, ideally, you know, a 5-liter bucket. A meda of kapenta will be like 30 kwacha. Then a meda of kasepa will be like 7 kwacha then. So we used to measure in bigger, you know, sachets of kasepa. So people used to make fun of it. So one time I had a conversation with my colleagues, and this guy says, so I thought of contributing to the conversation. And this guy just hits me up and says, "Iwe choka pakaziwe chekugurisa kasepa huko." Yeah. So meaning, can you translate that?
Get out of here. Just go and sell your cheap commodities.
Yes, your kasepa there. Yes. So it was a demeaning statement, and they all laughed. But see, the funny thing is, the guys who are laughing and the guy who said that, they had nothing of their own, and they had something of my own, and they are laughing. And this is the story for most people. There are many businesses that people would possibly, you know, get to do, but they don't do that because they worry on how other people look at them.
Right.
Yeah, so it is extremely important that we get to realize that your journey is your journey, and you need to run with your journey. Don't look at what others will say, and don't look at what others would look at you like.
How would you describe what you do right now? What do you do?
All right. So from that, got on to importing, trading in goats, buying goats from the deeper villages, you know, taking to Lusaka, Chivolia. When I got done with my secondary education, began importing, you know, clothes and duvets from Botswana, and then I was about, you know, 16, 17. Unfortunately, in 2010, I was then robbed of my capital in South Africa, you know, at knife point, and all the money was gone. And the only money that survived was in my inner pocket. Of course, you don't have to ask me which inner pocket.
Exactly.
No, yeah, so that's
we know.
Yeah, you know, it's fine.
In the Bombasa.
Yeah, so it was in the same year that I then founded a company with 2 other friends called Glad Tidings Software Limited. It was a school management. So Glad Tidings Software Limited is a software company, and you had a product called Glad Tidings eSchool, which is a school management system that would help with timetabling, accounting work for schools, grade book like report cards and whatnot.
So did you develop the software, or did you buy the software?
Oh, we developed that. So one of us was doing computer science at the University of Zambia. So he was developing, so he was developing his final year project. So it was just a project for his final year. So he was developing something that would solve challenges first in schools. Then the other guy had gone to the university as a mature. So he was already a practicing teacher. He had a diploma. So he had gone to the University of Zambia to do a degree. So he was telling this software guy the challenges that are faced in schools. So this guy was developing a package just responding to those challenges just for his final year project. Then myself, I found, the conversation. Guys. Yes. So this guy tells me to give you my cell number. I give him my cell phone number. Then on a click, an SMS comes of my supposed, child's results. Everything calculated, basic subjects, everything calculated automatically. And then I told the guy, listen up, this is money. But how? I said, no, we will make money out of this. Then fast forward, that's how we formed the company, the three of us. So there's a software guy who developed the package. I have no idea with developing. The teacher who knew the challenges first in schools. Then myself who knew how to make money using that. So that was the company that we formed. Since we are Christian-like, so we called it Tidings Software Limited. And we had that product, we called the product Glad Tidings ISCO. And that product to date is the most used school management system in the country. 3 out of 5 schools are using that product to do their timetable.
So what, did you license it? Did you sell it outright?
No. So we are selling school to school.
Yeah, but how? Are you licensing it, or do they own it?
So at first we thought of licensing, where would give them, then you pay annual subscriptions. But that didn't seem to work. Ideally, that should have been the case. But that model couldn't work because people were then like, so we pay you, then we should be paying you forever. You see, now we are talking to teachers who are not so, tech savvy and whatnot. So like, so you want us to be paying you forever. So they couldn't buy. What we then opted to do was that to sell it as a one-off arrangement. So that's how we, decided to sell at first. But it was still good. So we made enough money. We made some good money out of that. Though of course at a later time, science things, like computer science, you need developments, improvements and whatnot. So we could only get back now and say, no, we have added this. Are you going to pay for this? Or should you, continue now, subscribing? So some came back and we are then subscribing. But that came in at a later time, 7 years later actually.
Wow.
That's when they came. So that company is the company that gave me the breakthrough. So when I was 22, I then got into transport business. So that's how I got my first truck, a Mercedes-Benz Artego. And it was like one of the latest trucks then.
So sorry to take you back.
Yeah.
Back to the e-school. You remember your pitch to the first school, and were you selling these to teachers, to schools, or to parents?
Oh, we were selling to schools.
To schools.
To schools.
So you remember the first school that you went to pitch this?
Yes. One of the schools that I remember very well is Ndola Technical School.
Ndola Girls.
Yeah. Yes.
Technical school.
And I remember that one very well because you see, from the junction between Quito and Ndola Road, I dropped there and I had to walk, and that distance is
it's not your friend, man. What are you even doing walking that distance though?
No, there are no vehicles there. So I walked down that road, go to the fence to the school, demileaged my shoes, wipe them, and walked in and, did my pitch there. They were interested, but they said, no, we have no accountant. So let the accountant come, because there was a component of accountants. So I had to go again. I know the guidance teacher is not here, so, so I had to go again. Yeah. So that's one of the pictures that I remember very, very well. And it was the story across, But the breakthrough came in when we moved from presenting to schools, but to presenting at provincial level, where all schools are gathered, then you make a presentation. So now, because their bosses are in the meeting, they are DABs, they are district leaders and they are provincial leaders, I think it instilled confidence. So,
How did you get to that level, though? Who do you speak to get to the provincial level? You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking of that kid from Makeni. Can barely stitch 2 words of English together. You don't know anybody influential. Who do you call? How do you get to that level where you can pick up the phone, speak to somebody, and they say, come through and speak to a delegation of decision makers?
All right. So now there's a whole story around that. Yeah. If you allow me, I can share that.
Please do.
So what happened was this. So I was going school per school, and we are charging 3,500 kwacha per school. So we supply you pay us 3,500 kwacha. So we'll just install in your machines, the head teacher's machine and all those other machines. So we'll do that. But the challenge that we are facing was that when you go to a school which is independent, the head teacher would say, no, come next, or let us have a meeting, let us have what. So the turnaround time for them to make the final decision, it was always dragging. So 2012, we made a bit of money. We had made a bit of money using that route, which was quite difficult though. The unfortunate part was that the software guy, I remember that engineer, the time I was graduating at the University of Zambia, he was the only guy who graduated with a distinction degree in his field, if not mistaken, in the House School of Natural Sciences. Then the vice chancellor, on the graduation said, listen up, we want you back. So he got back to the University of Zambia as a staff development fellow, waiting to do his master's so that he can become a lecturer. So he still remained attached to the university. So 2012, he was then told that he would be going to UK. He had gotten this Commonwealth scholarship thing. But the unfortunate, so when that happened, I looked at myself. I was not tech savvy, and the teacher, the other one, remember, he's just a teacher. Yes. So we then decided to say, right. So what we're going to do now? I got the money that we had made, the little money that we had made, took it to the farm to go invest in tomatoes. Why? Because tomatoes in 2012, February, March, a crate of tomatoes was selling for 150 kwacha, and that was a lot of money. So that little money that I made, I went to the farm and invested in tomatoes for the rain season 2012 to 2013, so that February, March, I can then make
the huge profit.
The huge profit from tomatoes. And all went well. Got to the farm, did the tomatoes. Every week, I was picking a minimum of 500 crates. So meaning every 2 weeks, it was 1,000 crates minimum. So 1,000 times 150 kwacha per crate, I should have been making 150,000 kwacha every 2 weeks. So meaning per month, I was supposed to be making a 300,000 kwacha.
Right.
I get it?
Yeah.
But the unthinkable happens. In 2013, the same period, a crate that was selling for 150 kwacha in 2012 was selling for 7 kwacha in 2013. Jesus. February, March.
What was the plummet?
Well, the reason was a number of people thought the same way I thought.
Right, so everyone
went into tomatoes.
Yeah. So now there's a lot of supply.
Oversupply, actually, not just a lot of supply.
A whole lot of
oversupply.
Supply,
yeah. Right.
Yeah, so now the price had to come down. So it was 7 kwacha. Transport to Soweto market, 6 kwacha. People picking crates at the farm, it was 1 kwacha. Then crates are not normally owned by farmers, at least then. They were owned by people from Soweto market who would get a commission. So it was a total loss. It was better to leave tomatoes in the field than to pick them. So, because once you pick them, you remain owing the transporter. And remember, 7 kwacha is the starting price. So when you say 7 kwacha, they'll pick some, then some remain, then you have to reduce the price.
Yeah.
And it was a time where people that just throw tomatoes there, then go back with the crates to the to the farm. It was a huge loss.
Right.
Now at that time, wow, and also something crazy happened. My girlfriend dumped me.
After the tomato scandal.
I called my lady and told her to say, listen, I think maybe this is why I've delayed marrying. Maybe. Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, because I was so in love, man. So I called this lady and we meet up and she visited me at my cousin's place. I know life is tough. You see the motorbike that I had to sell it to pay, some workers, and I've still remained owing. But listen, I'm pushing the best that I can. We shall bounce back and whatnot. So, and baby's listening. Then from there, I told her to say Airtel then. I think it was it Airtel or Zen? I can't recall, but
should have been. When is this?
2013.
I think Airtel just come in.
Airtel or Zen? Well, I don't know.
Zen into Airtel, I think that period. Yeah. But anyway,
but great.
Yeah.
We said, no, you see, this is a bit expensive, according to us then. So then we said, we're going to go Zamtel. Now, Zamtel had a promotion then. For 1 kwacha 50 ngwe, you speak for 90 minutes during the day.
Yeah.
Then free talking from 20 hours to at Chazela or something like that.
Yeah.
Were you born then? Yeah, so I tell babes, we'll get these SIM cards so that we can partake of this. So babe is listening, and it was on a Wednesday. So then we agreed to meet on a Thursday. Then babe wasn't picking the phone. Friday, I called babe. Baby picked and said, I'll call back. I think maybe she was busy, she forgot. Then Saturday comes, nothing. Sunday afternoon, when the sun was this side. No wonder there's a way I always feel when the sun gets this side.
You're traumatized.
I just received a message, man.
Yeah.
This thing is not making sense. Have you ever been in a situation where you're reading a message, you read halfway, and you're scared of finishing the message?
You know exactly.
You
what's
know
going.
that this. I hope it is not what I'm thinking. Then going on, no, live your life as I live my life. In fact, lose my number. So I was dumped. I'm crying about tomatoes, and baby's gone. That's how bad it was. But at about the same time, my friend who was supposed to go to the UK, he calls and says,
the software guy.
The software guy.
Yeah.
No, these guys, the visa what? And what did you say? No,
You're not going anywhere?
you're not going anywhere? No, these guys, they can't do this to you.
You were like, look at God.
Look at him. They can't do this to you.
They can't do this to you. I'm coming. We need to discuss this. No, these guys are what? So I go to meet the guy, and the guy is complaining. In my heart, I'm like, God, that's the way I'm taking care of this one. So that's how, I told the guy to say, no, I know you're crying about this, but I mean, you're crying about one thing. Me, I'm crying about two. Tomatoes
and my
and
chick is
baby's
gone.
gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's how we got together. Now, when we got together, I said, listen up, we'll push this. Now, at that point, I was so aggressive. And the aggression that was there was that, you see, have you ever been in a situation where you have nothing to lose? And you're pushing like, listen up, if I don't do this, I'm finished. I am done.
You know they say when you hit rock bottom, the only way
It's up.
That was the state. I was like, here, I am done. This guy was almost gone, but at least I've survived. Now, I don't know how soon he'll sort out his issues. So I better do it now. Quickly. And all the money is gone this side. And that's how I now got into say, okay, fine. How about if I talk to the bosses? And the value proposition to the bosses was simple. You struggle getting data from your schools. So you need your schools to have this kind of package so that when you ask how many people dropped out, these head teachers don't have this information. Why? Because they have no proper school management system to help them know. If you ask them how many males, how many females, sometimes they even struggle with such basic things. So they need this. So I tried to convince the big guys. Then they saw the need. Then it was through those that I said, no, I can present to these guys. Now, when I presented to the schools where the heads are, it just opened very interesting doors.
Yeah.
Because I remember one head teacher who had given us trouble, had visited this guy 5 times, and this guy was giving stories. When he saw that I was making a presentation in the presence of the bosses, he just stood at the point of asking questions and needing clarification, and he just says, listen up, I know Dumisani, and we've been discussing this. This is what we need as schools. In my head, I was like, you dude, you've actually made me come to your school 5 times. And
now you want to look good.
Yeah. So one province said, no, we need this. So one province, I left Lusaka, went to Luapula province. When I got to Luapula province, when life was, dead broke, I told the school to say, rock bottom. I told them to say, listen up, we will not have to go school by school to train them for 2 days. Instead, call all the schools to one gathering, then we'll train you for 2 days. So each school should have the head teacher, because that is the administrator, the accountant, because they'll be attending to the accountant's part of the system, and the guidance teacher because of the report cards and whatnot. So 3 people per school come through, and you pay the 3,500 kwacha. Man, we left Lusaka, got to Mansa, at a place called Mansa College of Education. Got that side, schools started coming in for a 2 days training. Day 1, they started 3,500 kwacha per school. 8 hours, there was a queue.
Wait, how many schools are in Luapula province, by the way?
Which those schools per province are in hundreds, actually.
Because I'm trying to imagine how much money you made in one sitting.
Man, there was a queue, and they are coming in checks. And I was in charge of money. Well, I'm an accountant by profession. Yes, I mean, I've sold and I know. By the time I get into 10 hours, day 1, I stretched myself. And man, when I stretched myself, I knew that life will never be the same. I knew at that point, those schools that are coming from very far to Benakawambga, what they are coming. No, sorry for coming late. Yes, sorry for coming late. I'm like, don't worry. So those others, no, we didn't know the name of your company, so we couldn't prepare the check. Can you pay cash? I said, cash. Bring.
Cash is king.
Man, when I got to Mansa branch, Zanaco Bank, You know that you have enough money when you want to bank, then the branch manager comes out and says, where is this money coming from?
Laundering.
Yeah. So man, I said, listen up, we are from Lusaka, but we are just here for a training. Man, life changed. 12 hours day one, me, I knew that life will never be the same. That's how my life changed. The village thing, it was now the past I knew. In fact, I even called my friend in Lusaka and said, no, search around for a car. Search around for a car. This guy calls
the car from a new level.
Yeah. So this guy calls me at 14 hours and says, listen up, I found a very nice car. Niko Kosa. What car is that? No, I found a very nice Toyota Corolla. You see, I paused for a moment. I was like, then the first, after pausing for a moment, then it was like, hello. I said, boy, Uziba, you see, in life, it is
levels.
I just said, in life, you see, it is important, to respect each other. No, such a Corolla. Yeah, so I said, for me, the vehicle I can start with is Ranex Allion going up. Now, you see, 2012, those were like the latest vehicles.
Hot cakes,
Those were the hot guys. So, man, at 14,
levels.
He finds a vehicle at 15. I got into the bank, wired the man at 17. He sent me an image on BBM that the vehicle is ready. It has been bought.
With the photo. I mean, it's BBM.
BBM. The photo, man. Day 2, the guy we are doing the training, he's actually doing the training as we are in day 2. Yeah. My mind is like, man, just we have to go. Yeah, we have to go. When we got done at 17, the guy is saying, no, you see, we can sleep, then we can start off in the morning. I said, me, I'm not sleeping here. In my mind, it was like, you see, life is unpredictable. You can die before you drive better. I'd be drawing closer to the vehicle.
What if I die? Enjoyment now.
Now, man, we moved all night.
Yeah.
The following day, that's how my life changed, man. Got in? Yeah.
Definitely, single-handedly, the thing that put the battery in your back was being dumped.
I think so.
It was being dumped.
It was.
It was painful.
Yep.
Now the pain is what drove me to be so aggressive. Like, I have nothing more to lose, and I was trying to. I think if I'm to really look at myself, Vero, I think I was trying to prove a point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I was trying to prove a point.
There's no pain like that which comes from the opposite sex. There's no such pain.
That story is true to Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
What's the guy that did the music thing? Who inspired Mark as well? Who coined
Napster?
Napster.
Yeah.
It was all from girls.
Heartbreaks.
Yeah.
Even the best albums come from heartbreaks, man.
But you see, the funny thing is that when I came in, got an apartment, bought everything new. Wow, it was like everything new. And you see, I'm just 22, like turning 22. Mm-hmm. I get to this landlord, and she's looking at me and she's saying that maybe I'm youngish, and then she says, no, in a panonifuna 3 months in advance plus security deposit, and she even wants to walk away. She turned literally, and she was walking away. In my heart, I'm like, do you know me? Do you know me? Then I told her, but Mami, can I pay, 1 year in advance? And the reason was, we had made a lot of money and I didn't know whether I'll make it again.
Right.
Yeah, so like, can I pay 1 year in advance? Then she looked at me,
I said, you?
Yeah, it's Niku Zibani, kapira ndimeba satanisti. Yeah, she turned that down, but yeah.
She turned it down?
Well, the 1 year in advance. Yeah, so she still wanted. Yes, she turned it down and said, no, no, your first Nikuzibe. No, let me know you first.
Yeah,
I can. I'm
inviting a satanist.
Yes, I might bring in a satanist.
Yeah.
Funny thing is, I then began thinking of Babe. Yeah.
Of course,
you've made your money now. She left you because you're broke, right?
Yeah, but now
the money now.
Were you thinking of her like getting her back or showing her like, do you see the level where I'm at now?
But man, that's 50 days from the breakup.
All this happens in 50 days.
Yeah, in 50 days, from the day of the breakup, life changes in 50 days.
There are certain people.
Wow.
Where's the camera? Hey, put it back at me. There are certain people who, when you date them and you break up with them, your life begins to
get better.
It feels like you've been dating a handbrake. Because the entire time you're with them, nothing is happening. The minute you break up with them, suddenly doors open.
You know, it was so crazy. But the funny thing is, you know, the heart, it wants this chick, you know. So
The heart wants what it wants.
I call her. You know, I call her. Can I see you? No, she says I'm very busy. Then I tell her, no, can I see you just for 5 minutes? After 5 minutes, you walk away. Of course, I knew. In 5 minutes, she would know that.
You would have shown her the new car.
Yeah,
And the new
know.
clothes.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, but well, she turns that down too. I said, you're lying. But maybe I might teach people things that are not so.
No, this is your story.
No, this is
what
your
they do
story.
with it.
It's happened.
Oh, it's my story.
It's your story, yeah.
Okay.
You're not teaching
All
me
right.
anything.
Okay. Well, listen up. I'm not teaching you anything. I'm just saying what happened.
It was your
Yes.
mindset then.
Oh, my mindset
That's
then.
not who
You're
you are
born
now.
again Christian now.
And the way you're pushing me towards saying the story. All right. So
Yeah.
I said, you're lying. You know about this. We had a mutual friend who was working in town. So I tell her, I'd say, no, listen up. How buy you lunch? I mean, who says no to a lunch? To lunch from a friend. So she said, well, cool stuff. I said, okay, fine.
These
Instead
chicks
of
be
going to
hungry,
the restaurant.
Jesus.
Sorry?
I said, these chicks are hungry, man.
Did you have to say that? So then I tell her, I'd say, listen up, I'm coming. So instead of going to the restaurant to buy together, I bought lunch in advance from a company that was called King Pie or Pie King. I can't recall. Yeah. So I bought, you know, the pie, chips and whatnot. So I go to Cairo Road, I park, and I bought a Ranix then. It was like
Is that where she was working? In Cairo?
Yes, that's where she was working.
Right.
You know, the friend,
Yeah.
our mutual friend.
Oh, the friend. Okay.
The
cool.
friend, yes.
Yeah.
No, her, she doesn't want to see me. She's busy. I mean, she's busy. So I respect busy people.
So is the friend female or male?
Female. So?
I hope the story is going where I think it's going.
Yeah, well, I know I'm a good guy.
No, he's.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Is that
You should have smashed the friend.
No. I am vegetarian. So, yeah. So,
I almost fell off my seat, man.
so she comes in, you know, and you have a chat and I hand over lunch to her. Now there's a problem. She's about to leave. I mean, you've talked about everything. And the problem is she's not asking about the car. I'm like, you are lying. I'll tell you. Then I'm like, you see, I loved your friend. I loved your friend so much. And you know what? Your friend loved this car. So I had to buy this car because of my love for your friend. Dumi, is this your car? I mean, yeah.
levels,
Yeah.
baby.
So then
levels.
I don't tell her to say, go tell your friend. In my heart, I just looked at her in the face and said, I'm giving you 24 hours. Do the right thing. Then, man, I gave it 48 hours. I gave it an extra 24 hours. 48 hours, I called my ex. The phone rang once. Ring. When it was hammering the second ring, before it finished. Dumi! Where are you? Oh, no, I'm fine. Where are you? She was in Chilumburu Road. So there's a road called Chilumburu in Tawata. Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, well, I'm not too far from there. No, I can drop by and say hi, hello, as I'm going to. Oh, not a problem. For the first time, she agreed to see me.
It was not a problem
It
anymore.
was not a problem. And she was going to church. So she was standing by the roadside waiting, man. 10 minutes later, she calls. How far? I said, wait, I'm coming. Then I finally, turned. And the sister was going to church that day. So she came in. And life was changed. I mean, I'm in the Ranix, and there's a phone there, and now even levels for the BlackBerry. It is, the BlackBerry board.
The big one.
The big one, the powerful one. Yeah. So anyway, those are love issues. But anyway, from that, in fact, instead of taking us straight to church, I said, I'm feeling a bit cold. Can you pass through home and just pick a cot? So we get to the gate, press what can be pressed.
The gate
what
opens.
can open. We get in. Just come through and know where stay, Yeah. So she comes in now. Remember, everything is brand new. From spoon to bed to beddings, TV, everything, couches.
Where did you live
everything
before when you dated her?
No, I was being caped. You know, when I came back from the village,
Right.
I was being caped. I had
By an
nothing- I
uncle,
have no
right?
place of my own. A cousin.
yeah.
So now
cousin.
you've got your own.
Now I
your
have my
spot.
own space.
Where was
But then-
where was this house?
Kabbalah, Livala stage 4.
Livala, right.
So then, well, I think it was a good starting point.
Yeah.
So then she comes in, and I thought maybe she might think this is my uncle's place. So then I had to pass a statement, you see, when you're staying alone as a bachelor. And so, but anyway, long story short, so from that deal, the another province came in, I bought my first truck. So that's where the trucking business comes in.
Hold on. So did you end up getting back together with this girl?
Wow. We got to continue knowing each other.
So did you end up dating again?
Yes, we did.
Jesus, Dumisani. That's a
Yes,
rookie
we did.
mistake, bro.
Yeah,
Because
well,
you know
I
it's
know.
not you.
He
She
was in
wants-
love. Come on,
no.
you can't cut the man some slack, man. He was in love.
No, man.
Yeah, but well, it didn't last.
Of course
very
it
long.
didn't.
Yeah. And but I was willing to give it a shot. And the question for me was very simple. And I'll share this. I was like, you can tell me the truth. Why did you break up with me? Then she said, so she gave a lame excuse. You see, your what, your relative to what, and your what did what to my auntie what. I said, but you, listen.
Sounds like a kung fu movie.
Yeah,
I know,
no,
right?
it wasn't making sense. But I was so willing to still go on, and I told her, just tell me if you did not believe that I could make it. I will understand you, because even myself, I did not know whether I would make it or not.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I totally understand. A comfortable life is okay, just to have closure. But she refused that. That was the reason. So, and the final words for me were, you see, I can't trust you, because you see the way we broke up. It then makes it a bit more difficult for me to see how we can.
What if?
But if she was willing to say the truth,
then she realized her mistakes.
She realized her mistakes, and we can wrap that off and start afresh. But she died with no.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the hill she chose to die on.
I like the direct translation. She died with no. I didn't wanna know.
I didn't wanna know. Yeah,
And how you get them is how you lose them. Really.
Yeah, true.
If you're gonna use money to get a girl, when the money goes,
that's it.
There's that song by Fabulous. When the money goes, will the honey stay?
Dumisani, well, we're about to get to the bigger businesses that you did from that point in your life, but I'd like people to understand what kind of a risk taker you are. And before we even get to the bigger moves that you made after that, I'd like to take you back to, and let me jog your memory on this one, because it's like a famous story in your circles, your Mozambique experience.
Oh, yo.
This man, I know you're a major advocate of intellectual capital, because a lot of youth will talk about how they need money to start businesses, but you're a major advocate of intellectual capital.
Yeah.
Use your brain. Start small with whatever you have where you are. And I'd like, I think, for many youths watching this to understand that they don't need money to start business.
Yeah.
And some of the risks that you took in your life, I'm sure are going to inspire so many people. This is why I've taken you back to Mozambique before we go to the big businesses
stuff.
in your
All
life.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we can just share that Mozambique story for those who've never heard it.
All right, great. So the starting point is the same one that you've actually indicated, to say financial capital is important, but it has its place. The most important form of capital that you need is intellectual capital, using your brain. And people don't seem to understand this. Most of us think, I don't have money. And when they say I don't have capital, they mean I don't have money. Money is just one form of capital. You see, if financial capital is the most important form of capital, then those that have gotten their pensions would have become very wealthy. Those that have gotten loans would have become they had the money but still failed flat out. So that story to Mozambique, was a very interesting one. So back then, motorbikes that were there, which were, the cheapest, was a brand called Honda. And then it was like at 15,900 kwacha, one. Then the other ones were a bit higher, like Suzuki and Yamaha and whatnot. So this guy wanted a motorbike, but he didn't have enough money to get that 15,900, worth of a bike. So I told him that, listen up, I can supply you a motorbike, which is not as big as these, but slightly smaller, at 8,000 kwacha. He said, oh, really, 8,000? But then I told him, you actually have to pay me 5,000, then you pay me the 3,000 as I deliver. So the man thought of taking the risk, because, if if he doesn't take the risk, then he will never have the bike. Yeah. So then he gave me the 5,000. Then got on a bus here from Lusaka, got to a place called Katete. Katete got on a cab, got to a border called Chanida. Chanida got on a truck, go to a town called Tete in Mozambique. Indeed, I found motorbikes, because I had heard that they are cheaper that side and they are used as some form of transport. Mm-hmm. So getting that side, got to negotiate for a bike, and of course, language barriers. So it was just on the calculator, as you calculate. So finally settled for an amount, paid for the bike. Then one guy who was helping assemble knew a bit of Nyanja. Then he says, one liter of fuel in these bikes takes you 150 kilometers. I said, wow. 1 liter of fuel, 150 kilometers? Really? Yes. So in my head now, it's like, how many kilometers is it to Lusaka? Mm-hmm. So I ran the kilometers. Then I realized that it was cheaper to ride the bike than to put it on a bus or maybe on a truck. So then I said, okay, fine, I'm going to ride this thing. But there's a problem. I've never ridden a bike in my life. So then I tell the guy to say, listen up. Well, in my mind, again, I'm like, okay, you see, we used to ride bicycles at the village, long distances. But this one, I'm not riding, I'm just seated. And this thing is moving. I mean, this is cake. This is,
what is so hard about this?
What's so hard about this? I mean, then I decided to say, I'll ride. So I tell the guy, say, can you show me how to ride? So he shows me, this is the brake, this is the clutch, this is the what, this is the what. And I say, I was this ambitious guy. I'm like, I can do this thing. I can't fail to do this. So I tell him, say, no, take me to the road leading to Zambia. So he takes me to the road leading to Zambia from the town now, yeah. Is this road leading to Zambia? Yes. I put food tank in the motorbike, then put in fuel in the container behind, tied it behind. And I started off. Learned changing gears on my way back. So the change up, change down, I was learning
as you were going,
riding back to Zambia.
That's entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Crazy move. Yeah. Rode for 204 kilometers. Precisely at 204, I just saw oil on my shoe and checked in. I could see chains inside the bike, inside the engine of the bike. Put it on the side. Now, I've never repaired a bike. It is my first, proper interaction with a bike. I didn't know what to do. So, go to the side of the road, use the helmet as a pillow, and stared in the sky. And the thoughts that hit my mind were, one day, I'll share this story. And this is around 19, 19, 20, and vehicles are not passing. Those that were passing, they are not stopping. It was only around 22 that the noise in the bush, it was like that horror movie kind of noise. I'm like, this doesn't sound safe. So I decided to walk and push the bike. I said, it is better when I'm walking back to my country, bit by bit. Eventually I'll get there. Then past midnight, a bus stops, a combi, a bus, or a minibus. Yeah. We call them minibus here. Mm-hmm. Stops. The hastiness with which the guys loaded the bike on top of the bus. It was like, guys who are robbing a bank, well, I've never robbed a bank, but I'm just thinking that they do it very fast, But it was on top. Then the guy says, listen up, you're so lucky that you're alive. This is a national park. There are animals here.
Oh my God.
You'd have been eaten up without any form of trace. And there was no network there. So go to the border, worked on the bike and put it on a truck, then got to Lusaka, landed it for 4,800 and handed it over to the man, and he paid me the 3,000,
That's a huge profit though.
Oh yeah, well, that was some cool profit, man. Yeah. So if you looked through my journey, I've taken such huge risks, a lot of them, hence the name, the radical entrepreneur. That's where it comes from.
Listening to your story, all the way from the pamphlets to the Kantamba to everything else that you've done, it feels like you've done it all, right? What's your take on, how they say put in 10,000 hours for you to perfect whatever it is that you want to hone your you're crafting, you focus on one thing that you become absolutely good at. It's a passion, and as a result, that is what will bring you the fortune that you require, as opposed to having a jack of all trades, for lack of a better word, which in your case it seems to be. So all the way from transport to everything else. How do you see the two different types of approaches?
Between one where you're focused, hitting one thing, and where you get to.
So like your friend who was the software developer, where that's what he knows, and so the amount of time that he puts in to perfect that, you become a guru at software development, and that is exactly where your fortune is going to come, because you know absolutely everything about coding and software development than a person that has done 10,000 things and they're not really a master at any of them.
All right, so my approach is, well, to even begin, I think let me indicate what I believe in that space. I believe in a space where, you need to do one thing, do it so well, let it grow before you can get to do other things. But then when you're starting out, it becomes pretty difficult, because your plan would be to run this thing, but the kind of money that you have is not enough to allow you to run that thing. So you have to do these little things that should help you and propel you towards that thing. So it is like transport. I had passion for it, and of course after the software thing I got into transport like I was indicating. But what you notice is one thing: the selling of goods. I have no passion for goods, really. It was the means to the end. The little things that I was doing, it was the means to the end. So for me, when I got into transport business, it was like, okay, fine, I have arrived. So all these little things that I was doing, it was trying to get me somewhere. The duvets that I was getting from Botswana and whatnot, it was, like propelling me in a particular direction. The motorbikes thing, it was, propelling me in a particular direction. So it was leading me towards what I'm passionate about.
Which was what? The trucks?
Well, at that point, yes. So transport was the key thing. Because remember, when playing, wire vehicles, at that point, I told the guys to say, no, you can actually own
the trucks.
So it was passion. It was really passion that I wanted to get that. So the moment I had an opportunity of having a lot of money, the first thing that I thought of doing was transport. So to answer your question, all these little things that I was then doing were just the means to the end. It was like, okay, fine, so what can I make out of this so that I can get, to this particular end? But strictly speaking, I'm an advocate of one who built something, built it so big. It is better to have one thing which is so huge than have 100 mediocre things.
Right.
Yeah, and in fact, it reminds me of the words of Andrew Carnegie, who says, people say don't put your eggs in one basket, but he said something interesting. He said,
put them all in one basket.
Put them all in one basket. Then wash the basket.
Yeah.
Yes. That is what I believe in too. Because if you looked at all the big guys, Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Jack Ma, Alibaba, Steve Jobs, and one. So it is easier to make it so huge in one field. Then you can diversify. Don't diversify so early. Yeah.
That's basically what I was thinking, because my entire journey, what I've known is fintech and software development. I have no idea how I find myself in the middle of, I know two people. I know one person that is looking for gold. I know one person that is selling gold, but I know nothing about gold. So I never want to dabble in that because I know nothing about it. Every single day you get an opportunity where people are saying, hey, listen, I know you've got connections with Europe. We are looking for A, B, C, and D. For as long as, and I don't know, maybe it's me being closed-minded, for as long as it is not in the sphere of what I know, I try not to. If I can connect you to, Kalinga owns a radio station. One person has got a potato company and they want to sell potatoes and they want to advertise, hey, Kalinga meets so and so, and that's as far as my involvement goes. So I've always thought about, am I limiting myself, or do you have to explore every opportunity that comes your way? You know what I mean? All
right. Yeah. So my take on that is that riches are in niches. Riches are easily made where you have become exceptionally, great. every business that you engage in has a learning curve. Every business. Even the simplest of businesses, even just bringing oranges from South Africa to here, it has certain things that you need to learn. So there's always a learning curve. And people think, every business that where one is making money, they can as well make money. It doesn't work that way. Now, to avoid that learning curve arrangement, don't just involve yourself in many things. Involve yourself in things that you know very well, because it is in those niches that you find riches. I think I can give an example. I moved on to, transport business from the software thing. Then from the transport business, I moved on to, now something crazy happened in the transport business. I then realized that I think I'm not cut off from the cloth of, I love that. But when I got in, I was like, no, this is not the thing that I really want to do. Because drivers were just giving me a lot of trouble, and I just didn't want to get, and I had an accident that, led to the closure of that transport business. But then I got to a company called DLN Technologies. I don't know if you've noticed now that when you go to a bank, you would get your ATM card on instant issuance. Like you would get it instantly. Yeah. What used to happen back then is that you might have to wait for 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get your card. But now it is instant. So most of the banks, the machines that they use to personalize your cards and whatnot, it is one of my companies that does that, and which is DLN Technologies. So we got so specialized in that space to a point that when certain companies wanted to cut us out, it would always come back to us, because you had the dealerships, you had the expertise, so we got so specialized, and it's a space that people have no idea of. But if you look at some of the contracts that would get, like from certain clients, it is every year, because we supply machines. Yeah. So most of the universities, by the way, in Zambia, using our machines, and most of these. So you'd find that from certain clients, you are getting a 2 million, 3 million without marketing. So that's just from consumables. And this is standard every year. I don't have to come and market to you. The fact that you're using our machines, you're our client. And people have no idea about this, but it is specialized and you are good at it. And if you want to beat us at it, you talk to the suppliers, out there, you will still be referred back to us. What I'm putting across is that when you hit one thing and hit it so well, the chances of success are extremely high. It becomes so easy to succeed.
I'm glad I came, man. And I see why we get along. We sort of see things the same way, because no matter what I do, I sort of end up in the same kind of industry. Like even this, what we're doing right now is sort of radio. I own radio stations, and I sort of keep, I never want to venture into other things, or not just yet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I see why we get along. It makes sense now. Why God did this.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got...
No.
Okay.
Wait. So out of everything that you've done so far, which do you think had the biggest return?
Or the biggest return?
The most revenue?
Okay, so the construction business was doing pretty great before it was hit. With the coming in of COVID, and just before COVID and whatnot, we did, pretty massive projects. So at some point that had the highest turnover, but I don't normally talk about that. So I tend to give one business as an example, and it is for a reason. You see, you can't put your life entirely online, because if one wants to bring you down, they can bring you down instantly. So I always that, since I decided to come out in the open, I decided to keep certain things on the side. But maybe I can share this. So the construction business had a huge turnover. Of course, the profit margins were not as huge as the tech business, but the one that I believe tested my entrepreneurial acumen was the tech business. Because it's so nice, and I can give many examples where we competed with pretty huge companies. And I remember one time where we were working on this project. So these guys come in, they wanted a particular system done for them and whatnot in the same space that we are in. Then at that point, there's some friends, the Chinese, who had a reasonably big company locally, who had gone for it. Then there were some Indians who are running, a pretty big brand. If I mention the brand, you would actually know them. But these are big guys who have interest in farming, interest in what, but they also have interest in tech. And this is a huge thing. So, we get that side, and we also, give our thing. Then the procurement guys, how sometimes when monies have exchanged hands, and these guys just stop picking your calls. But as we understood the game so well, and we understood the system very well, and what they were trying to achieve, I knew that when implementing this, they'll need a particular company, and this company was from Portugal. Mm-hmm. So quickly got in touch with the company in Portugal and requested to be their representative here. Now, those guys have no idea of what is happening in Zambia. So talk to them, and we became their official representatives. Mm-hmm. So we are just positioned. And these guys are not picking our calls. At first, when we are making the presentations, it's like we're in good, books. Mm-hmm. Then finally, towards the end, they got in touch, and they finally got to know that the guys that will solve this part of the puzzle, it is the company from Portugal. They get in touch with them. Then those guys say, no, we have DLN Technologies in Zambia. So then, for the first time, the procurement guy calls us. And, hi, can we talk about this? Now, it was talking on our terms, because then we knew. They've come to you. They've come to us, and we knew where we could squeeze them, because they are nowhere else. So the tech business, I think, taught me so much. There are many mistakes that I made, and one day I like giving examples on it. I've lost valuable employees where the business is dependent on this employee, and the employee leaves you. How do you go about it? Mm-hmm. So I had a time where you have employed so much and thinking that the business will now flourish. Then you get into huge losses because your wage bill has grown too much and you didn't have to employ. You see, there are certain businesses that you don't have to employ a lot of people. Yeah. A business can rake you millions, and you're just the three of you in the company. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Me, I knew that growth is the number of branches this side, branches that side. But it was so I've learned so much, and one day I like sharing about it. So so DLN Technologies, I think, has done quite a bit, and I think it has given me quite some money.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the things that people do when they reach levels like yours? You start making big money, and you've made quite a controversial statement on social media all over the place, and this controversial statement being the foolishness of buying a house. I'm sure this statement has put you in trouble at some point, or has angered a few people around you.
It has.
But can you just maybe break it down for the Zedians watching that Zed podcast? Why do you call it foolishness to buy a house? Because I think the logic that we all think of is, okay, I'm done, I'm not paying rentals anymore, and if business or my work went south, things went bad, I still have a house and a roof over my head. But you then come in with your famous statement, the foolishness of buying a house.
Great. In fact, that shouldn't be complicated to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah. My reasoning is this. I know why people think that way, to say, you need to have a house, the security and whatnot, you don't pay rentals and whatnot. Well, that is fine. But here's the thing. There is so much more that can be achieved when that money is let loose to then build your enterprise. Case in example. Remember when you made the money from the software thing at first? Yes. So that one.
When you went to Lapola, yes?
Yes. So my colleague had decided to build, his dream house or bought land and whatnot. Then myself, remember that I got money and put into transport business. Yeah. So I then began, began netting from transport business, and all was moving, pretty fast. On a bad day, I would, make a 10 grand, on a very bad day.
From the trucks.
From the trucks, yeah. Bad day, 10,000 kwacha. Then this guy, for whatever reasons, those big projects had a halt, where you have no province that is buying at that particular time.
Oh, because he was just building.
Yes, he was building
houses and not really investing. The money wasn't coming back.
No, not even building houses. He was building a massive house.
Oh, wow.
Yes, his dream house. So he's investing in his dream house. So it is the first thing. We've got money, let me do this. Bought land and so now, when the source halted.
Yeah.
The house is not yet done and is stuck. Now at that point, money is flowing in on my end quite easily. And when you're talking about this property, so this is the property that I did when I was, I don't know whether it was 23 or 24, and it was done in 6 months, from buying the plot to building and whatever else that you see here. It was done in
the house we're in right now?
Yes, here.
Oh, wow, great.
6 months. Like everything done, everything you are seeing within 6 months.
From the truck money.
From the truck money. And the business was still running. So what I'm putting across is this. You can have money if you can invest in a business, because it can afford you many houses. In fact, even where I live, I bought a house because where I was then living, it was a spacious house. I'm alone, and I was, visited by robbers who didn't break in, but they were trying to break in. So when I shouted for help, because the yard was spacious, I didn't get help. Yes. So that scared me off, and I decided the following day that I want to buy a house in a complex. And I went searching for a house in a complex, and I just told my accountant and the lawyer to say, I want this done as soon as possible. Within 7 days, a house was bought in a complex.
Which complex?
And that's Northgate Gardens. And, just bought and instantly moved in. And that was bought instantly.
Yeah.
Because I had the cash to buy that. Yeah.
And even when you take money from that business, the business is still running.
The business is still running.
To replace
more
that
money. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So all the many things, the farms and whatever else that I actually own, it points back to the businesses that have actually been able to build and, be able to afford me many things. The challenge that we have is that, one, maybe let me give typical examples. One starts running a business. Before the business grows, they start siphoning money from the business to build a house because they believe a house has security. What then happens is that the business gets stunted, and you run out of stock and whatnot, and you are pushed out of business sooner than later. That's what tends to happen. So those that are running a business, they get it wrong. Before the business grows so much, they start siphoning money from the business, and that's why certain businesses that would have become so huge and great have gone down for a simple reason, because the owner thinks they are making a wise investment in building a house. That's one. Then those that get their pensions, they get their pension and decide to build their dream house, and they think that's a perfect thing to do. They get this beautiful land, massive house, putting it up. It reaches roof level, the money is done, and they have nowhere to get money to finish it up, and they sell it at a giveaway price. Those are typical examples that we have. And we have those that are employed. You see, when you are employed, what determines how much you get is the value you add on yourself. And how do you add that value? You add it through the knowledge, qualifications, and the skills that you get. So your knowledge and qualification is then backed up by the papers that you get.
Yeah.
Then the skills, of course, that is, with your job in training, what you do and how you sharpen that. So we have people who get started with their diploma. They don't get to advance to get a degree, masters and whatnot. They still remain at that diploma or at that certificate. Why? Because they cannot afford to take themselves to school. Why? Because they started building a house. So every month in, month out, they are buying blocks and cement, and their thinking is that this is the perfect investment. Yeah. But do you realize that in the same Zambia, where people are getting a 3,000 kwacha salary, others are getting 700,000 kwacha per month.
Yep.
Others are getting 500,000 kwacha per month. They have invested in their education and they have invested in their skills. But what if you decided to advance your career, advance your qualifications to a point that building a house worth 300,000 shouldn't take you years and years? There are people that have been building, that I know of, who've been building for the past 12 years. They started buying cement and blocks 12 years and they're still doing that now. So how about if we built these things that give us money, then decided to build? Yes, I believe it would be helpful.
How much would you say you're worth?
Well, that's a tough question, and I've never answered that question. But
you've never answered it?
No. But I can say this. I can. I am better than what I was yesterday. 1, 2. I can buy any car that I want, which is in the Zambian showroom at any time without any trouble.
10 million, maybe 20.
I'll not answer that, but just know that. And in fact, worth enough to brand, Range Rovers. So yeah, we can.
I know that actually raised this on social media. Like, who brands a Range Rover Sport?
Yeah, so I can do that. And I've never bought a vehicle on a loan or anything like that. I buy vehicles for cash. So I've never built or bought a house on a loan or anything like that. I do that for cash.
You know why I asked that, and I spoke about this with Liapa. So you've got a masterclass that is coming up. And we got tickets, which I lost mine from Maria.
We're coming to your event. Yeah, we got tickets.
Maria.
I think everyone in this room has 2 tickets each. Yeah.
So maybe I'll get the platinum one from you, right?
Okay, great. Okay, let me hear about that.
So what I'm driving at is, normally when you give a masterclass or when you tell people either how to navigate a certain area, people want to know the authority, or not the authority, but has this person been through what they're saying?
Yeah.
It's good and well that you can tell me in theory, so invest in Bitcoin, you're able to make A, B, C, and D. It's another thing if you are taking that from somebody that has amassed so much wealth, that has been through that know exactly what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always that. Okay, fine. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to you because I actually look up to you. I know what you have done, and that's basically where I was coming from with people who might not know your story. Where they say, okay, fine, I'm gonna listen to this guy because of the following 1, 2, 3, 4.
All right, great. I totally concur with what you said. I totally concur. Because you see, you cannot get to listen to someone tell you on how to make money when they themselves have not made money.
Right.
So they're telling you that, listen, you need to do A, B, C, D for you to make it, when clearly that is what they need to do first themselves.
There you go, right? Exactly. Yeah. You done it.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So I totally understand that. But just to share, I have had a fair share in my entrepreneurial journey.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen what can be done.
Mm-hmm.
Go to most banks,
Mm-hmm.
they'll tell you of my company.
Mm-hmm.
Go to any big university in the country, all the identity cards they have, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of my companies. Unza, CBU, Mulungushi, all these guys, Kwame Nkrumah, they're using our machines to do their identity cards. So we have a footprint. Go to Kalumbila mine, check out the houses that are there, and a number of them we built those. Go even to Atlas Mara House, where we had Bank ABC, where the Southern Sunny there. The branch, the what, we are the ones that did that.
You did what?
I think there was a time they were setting up the branches and whatnot. So we did much of the works in that thing. Yeah. So there's so much that we can point at. Pick a branch, we built that bank. Choma, we did that. So we've done quite a bit, and I can sit back and point at and say, no, you look at that. Go to schools in this country, about 3 out of 5 schools. Ask them the package that they're utilizing. My name is there. So I have changed the narrative in my country. I've had, the ups and the downs, but there's so much more that I can point at and say, no, this is what we can do. And you see, everything that I get to do, out of trying to be humble, I'll say, by God's grace, it tends to work out, pretty positively. I think even in the same space of, the masterclass coming in, it is not braggadocio. I mean, it is a fact. We used to do auditoriums, like the Mungushi,
stadium.
We do stadiums, man, and I'm the only guy that does that in Africa.
Impressive, man.
So that just underscores one thing. I would like to believe I'm not an ordinary guy. I'm convincing myself that way.
The electricity. The one that's
Dumisani, I'm being given a signal by my producer here about time, so just a quick one if I could squeeze in one more question. The controversial things that you say. We spoke about one where you spoke about the foolishness of buying a house. That's clear. Over helping relatives and friends. I know that's another one that people look at you like, you know the average Zambian mentality. Okay?
True.
So you're a great advocate against over helping relatives and friends. Please explain more about that.
To begin with,
Yeah.
I'm a Christian, a family guy.
Why disclaimer?
Blessed is the hand that giveth and the one that takes.
Yes.
So that I totally understand.
Yeah.
But you see, we have stunted our growth because of over helping. Case in example, and I shared this. When I made a decision at Matero Boys to save my family from poverty, I was so serious about it. And I decided to be disciplined on how I spend my money. At the village, my brother was pretty generous. He would easily, help out, makes money, from plowing pieceworks. He would buy relish for the family and what. So he was seen to be very generous. So I remember at one time my parents sitting me down and saying, listen, we have seen the works of your brother. Your brother has shown that he can take care of us. But you, you are
stingy boy.
Yeah. So you need to change this so that you can help out and whatnot. But what they did not know was that the plan that I had was to see how I could, help them in the long run. This little thing that I was running was meant to grow because I can't keep eating from it. It will not grow. So fast forward, we passed through those journeys, the goats, the going to South Africa, the software company, the transport company. So as we were progressing, I then began helping them out, one at a time. So the first starting point was, help my siblings with school, paying for their school fees and helping them out in that space. As I'm progressing, then it was up until 2017 when I bought, my dad, the first car. Bought him a car, just started, whatnot. I was a very happy man, and I told him, don't worry about fuel, don't worry about servicing, don't worry about working this thing, I'll work it out for you. All you need to know and do is drive. It was after that. But remember that I would have wanted to do that for my parents way earlier.
Yes.
But I needed to have this thing first grow so that it can afford. It was up until later when I then decided to build them a house. And I told them, Dad, sit here, Mom, sit here. Architecture engineer, sit here. Tell him the kind of house that you want. So starting point, we don't want a double-story house because we are now getting old, so we can't afford to be going up. So we need, is it a single story? It is not a single story. Actually, what you call double story is not double story.
Because that's the first floor there, right?
Yes. So it's just the first floor. Yeah. So we just want a normal house. And they chose a huge 5-bedroomed en-suite house at the village. They said, okay, cool, this is what you want? They said, yes. I said, okay, fine. So huge, actually, to a point that we could not use timber at the point of roofing. We had to use those steel terraces and bars and whatnot. And well, they're super happy. But why now? I could afford to do that, and I can easily do that. In fact, if they wanted another one, I can easily do that for them. Why? Because I can easily afford that now. Now, the point is this. Had I started helping and over-helping earlier, there is no chance that I would have been in a position of helping my parents, building a house. Yes. Even the kind of help that I could offer would be so limited in a way. So what I'm putting across is this. Help your family members. It's fine, but do not overhelp. Now, where does overhelping come in? Overhelping comes in when your help starts affecting the growth of your business. Overhelping comes in when you're employed. You cannot now go and do your degree, your masters, and what. You cannot improve yourself. Remember I said you're paid based on the value.
Yeah.
There are people who started with a diploma. They are unable to progress because of overhelping. But here's the thing, and I strongly believe in this. If you improve yourself and did grow, it accords you an opportunity to help not just your family, bag the extended family. I think it is the case now. I put up a 500,000 just to help out, fellow Zambians. A 200,000 just to help out those startups. I said I stammer, so this is what I
Yes,
yes, just to help out those that are starting out with business ideas. I think if you follow me on social media, you'd see some of the donations that would make 50,000 here, to build what, 100,000 there to do what, because I can afford now. But prior to now, it was, if I chucked out 100 grand from a business, I'm gone, I'm done. But now I can easily do that because the business is grown. So help, but do not overhelp. And here's the thing, you are all in a ditch of poverty. Why not step out of the ditch of poverty and begin pulling people out? I like trying to push people when you are all in the ditch of poverty. It doesn't work out. But the thing is, we tend to think, no, you see, my family can't support you. You don't know my family. My family depends on me 100%. If I don't, they will be all gone. You see, you are not the Messiah.
To save everyone.
You are not the Messiah. If you think you are the Messiah, try dying today. Now just try it out and see if you will not survive. No, just try it. Die today, they will mourn for 3 days.
And for
after your burial, life is back to normal. No one is going to die. Life will go on normal. And do you think they can survive without you? And because you have this thing of helping, so in every wedding committee you are there, every kitchen party committee you are there, every birthday party committee you are there, and as a result you then fail, to grow. I think that's the point.
I totally feel your pain, my man, and besides you have got 84 cousins, so you can't, that's where it's coming from, you can't.
84 aunties and uncles.
Bro.
No, those are the direct ones, before we count
Before
spouses. Yeah, so we get spouses.
And their children.
I understand your position, my man. I understand your position.
Dumisani, it's been great having you. I think we've learned quite a lot.
Wait, before he goes, a couple of things that how much time do we have? How much time do we have now?
We are at 1 hour 44, but we need to find out more about the masterclass.
Oh, Masterclass. Yeah, well, in conclusion, we're coming to Masterclass.
Yeah,
but
so 2-3 names that I'm going to give you, just at random. I just thought about this now. I want you to tell me in 2 or 3 words what you think of the person.
Well, that put me in trouble.
Why are you giving
Oh. For her, I have no problem saying now. I'm worried about the other names.
So,
all right. So she's she's a phenomenal lady and she's doing phenomenal stuff. I love what she's doing, and we talk oftentimes. I think we were just chatting this morning. A phenomenal lady. I have so much respect for her.
Komba, MTM.
Komba, great guy. I think he's doing the best that he can. We go to the same gym, so we get to hang out, quite a bit. Great guy, and he's going pretty far. I love his push, I love his drive.
Iris.
I know that you're just...
How have you been putting all these people in the same category, by the way?
Okay. Okay, cool. Iris,
you have to think so deep. Did you notice how the other two, it just floats?
Yeah. The challenge is that, you say something, what you say, can be used against you, so you gotta be, careful to watch. I think she's a very intelligent lady. I shouldn't keep that. I think she's intelligent. She's intelligent.
You struggled with that one, didn't you?
Yeah, she's intelligent.
Intelligent 5 times.
5 times you said it. 5 times. No, he's stammering now.
All right, but I just don't like one thing about how she brings out controversy and whatnot. I believe she can do so much with her brand. I think she's a phenomenal lady.
Yeah.
I would like to reiterate the fact that she's intelligent and she's beautiful. I think there is so much more that can actually come out of her, and I wish her well.
Awesome. So what's the guy who we knocked up from the number 2 on Apple Podcast? From South Africa?
Vusi
Tebekwayo.
Oh, Vusi Tebekwayo.
That's your good friend now, yeah?
Yeah. Well, we are buddies. He's actually coming in.
For the masterclass again?
Not for the masterclass, but during the masterclass he'll be around. So we'll decide. Well, I'll decide whether he should speak or not. But yeah, he'll be around. So great guy. I think he's a pusher.
You know, the last masterclass we had at the stadium,
I
thought he didn't quite deliver the way I know Vusi to deliver. I think being in a stadium overwhelmed him a little bit. Well, I picked that up from him. I don't know what you thought.
Well, it did. Because it was like, when he stepped in, it's like, Joe. Yeah.
He's never spoken in front of that many people.
No, he's never.
I could tell.
That was the biggest in Africa. That was like
10,000 people, yeah?
Over 10,000 registered people.
Plus the gate crashes.
Because some people didn't enter those clips.
Yeah.
So, over 10,000 people. So he was pretty overwhelmed. I know that a number of you have said maybe you could have delivered better. I totally agree with that.
I noticed when he went on stage, he stood there, started pulling his sleeves, and I was like, there's something wrong here. I think it's the crowd. And my assumption was correct.
Well, it just took him places, and you just saw Vusi praying. Oh, praying!
He asked for silence in the whole stadium.
Jesus. Wait, speaking of, how is he taking this whole him being a woman basher thing?
Okay, I think it's something that's actually tried to take off, media. I think he's actually tried his best to do that. And whether it took place or not, it just didn't seem to come out finally, like officially, because he said, I will respond through the lawyers, I will defend in court or whatever. But it just
did respond though, and he sort of threw his wife under the bus, saying she abused substance.
Yes, there was that. But it's something that he decided to keep, off social media, and it just somehow died a natural death. Yeah. Yes.
Do you think stuff like that again? Sort of. I know you want to keep going, but do you feel? Speaking of that small negative aspect of his life, about him abusing his wife, and we spoke a little about Iris, etc. Do you feel, regardless of how much of a talented entrepreneur you are, your personal life could encroach and essentially damage the progress that you've made in your professional life, or your talent always outshines how much of an asshole you could be?
Well, my personal take is that it has damage on your personal life. It does damage. You can never be too big for such things. You can never be too big. Will Smith as a case. You can never be too big. You do something which is off, there's a way that society gets to write you off. And you see, if you're so talented, there's your brand then becomes, the source of, money, the source of opportunities. It just presents so much on your table, your brand. And that is why the radical entrepreneur brand, I believe, has the potential of, earning so much more. As such, it must be guarded very, very well. So with the Vusi arrangement, when that came out, of course, it had an impact on his brand. Because, you see, there are certain people who may never comment. So there are those that comment negatively, say funny stuff, and bash you there. But there are a number of others who have the financial muscle, who have the influence and the power, who never comment, but they'll write you off. And they'll never wish to associate with you for reputational issues. It then becomes a huge challenge. So if there's anything that needs to be guarded, it is your reputation. And that's why I may not be perfect, but this is something that I take seriously, my reputation, how I present myself out there, and without pretending. Because there are certain things that I just can't do, because it will have a huge impact on my reputation.
Okay, I'm done.
Zed trivia. Dumisani, before we close off this episode, I just have one question. This is from your past life. You're getting nervous. Don't be. And it's not about females. Don't get extra nervous.
Oh, great.
It's about your dancing skills. This man here used to dance. Did you make money from dancing at kitchen parties and weddings?
Yes.
You used to be the nice boy at weddings.
Oh, really? Do you know what? I've been searching for a particular clip.
Yeah.
Where I really danced so well. You see, I used to make cool cash
From dancing at weddings.
Rumba.
What do you do with that talent, man? Why are you wasting it? Just being silly.
Dancing to us in the village is natural. We dance when you're celebrating. We dance
when you're rioting.
Dancing is natural. Dancing is natural for us. So it just comes in naturally.
Yeah.
I can dance. And I remember grade 8, go to Matero Boys.
Yeah.
End of term event, so there was, a dancing point where, people would, dance, and remember that there were head teachers there and whatnot. So there's a point where I think they used to call it entertainment, and the closing ceremony. So that they played a song called Sorora Bien.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
It was
popular wedding song, yeah.
Yes. Hey, man. So people are going to the stage, dance, go out, dance. There will be maybe 5-6 people on the stage, and and the song is moving. And I'm in the audience, I'm a grade 8 guy, and I'm like, these guys are wasting this song. They are wasting this song.
Yeah.
Man, I walked to the stage. I did 1, 2. Everyone scampered out of the stage. They left the stage for me. Man, I gave the dance and people started, throwing money on the stage. Teachers, pupils are like throwing money on the stage. Man, I danced, and that's why I got known in the school. Man, when I was saying, I was known in school for some wrong reasons.
That's part of that.
That's part of it. So dancing is so, don't tempt me to it. I'm so good at it. Thanks for coming to the Zed Podcast. And the Masterclass, you can just plug that. Yeah. Oh yes. So so we have the redefining Masterclass on the 4th of July at the National Hero Stadium. This is an event you don't like to miss. And sometimes people talk of gatherings, is it just motivational speakers? This is where they make their money from. So I have this to say. Such gatherings play a pivotal role. Number one, the networks that you get that side are extremely important for you. The people that you meet that side are like-minded people. So it is extremely important to gather in such places, 1. 2, the knowledge that you get. You see, you can never have enough knowledge. At every opportunity, get to learn. And I also take advantage to also, share that there are people who would say certain interesting things, and I don't blame them because that's what they believe in. So they would say, no, you don't need to listen to a speaker, speaking that side. All you need to do is go to YouTube and listen to inspirational videos. You have so much to learn from there. I have nothing against that. But I have a question too. Zambia was playing. Why don't you just go and watch from home and not go to the stadium? Why do you go that side? Question. When the video is coming to perform in Zambia, why do you go to watch him? Why not go to YouTube and watch? In fact, the videos on YouTube are much clearer. In fact, you can pause and rewind. Why do you have to go watch him? For those that go to church, you see there are sermons on YouTube that you can listen to. Why do you still go to church? And it's for a simple reason. The fellowship and the gathering, which is that side, you meet like-minded people at the stadium when watching soccer, the energy is different. When the video is performing, the energy is different. And that is why you even go clubbing when you can drink your beers,
and dance at home like any Sunday.
Yes, that's the thing. So the energy in such gatherings is totally different. As such, it is extremely important to gather at such gatherings. It just does the magic. I would encourage you to attend, and the tickets are not so expensive. What we've opted to do is that to cater for you at your level. So there are tickets for as low as 100 kwacha. You are in the stadium. 300 kwacha, a gold ticket. You are in the stadium, and you can get one for 2,000 kwacha because the top guys too are coming in. The CEOs, they're coming in. And if you look at the gathering that was there last time, check the pictures of the car park. See the vehicles that were in the car park. And here's a fella who has nothing happening in his life, and he's saying, no, I can't go that side. When the guys that are parking their Ford Rangers, Range Rovers and whatnot, check the car park. There are a number of pictures of the car park. It will show you the kind of hunger people have. And that's what differentiates those that get to make it and those that don't.
I was there in VIP with you, so I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you said that there. I thought you were claiming actually.
No. I did it right in front of you with Vusi and
that's his biggest achievement.
Yeah.
That's his biggest achievement.
Yeah, okay.
That and going to Australia.
Yeah, so please make it a point. Let us gather there. Last year we had the biggest gathering of entrepreneurs in Africa. And this year, we want to have the biggest gathering of entrepreneurs in the world.
Dumisani, see you there. So 2 platinum tickets for Kaling and I.
No, you gotta pay for those. That's the only way you value,
I paid last time, also you can pay this time. So
yeah, so you better do that. And by the way, it was a huge successful one.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of talk after the event.
Okay.
So which one was the biggest? Because the week before there was Fireball. I don't know if you still remember. So there was Fireball.
Yeah.
The week before. Then the night before the event, there was the album launch for Your Moms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what was coming in was that which one was the biggest amongst the three? Was it the Fireboy one? Was it the Your Moms one? Or was it the Africa Mastering Conference? Which one was the biggest? But to me, it's not about which one was the biggest. The fact that people could then begin comparing a self-development event and an entertainment event, to me, that was success. We are only getting higher and better. Otherwise, see you there.
That's a podcast with Dumisani Ncube. Pronounce it correctly. Yeah?
No, man. You say Ncube.
Ncube. Until the next episode, that's a podcast. Kate plus Nelson, Dumisani. Have a lovely day.
Tan 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 tan